morning all. I would like to call this meeting to order and welcome everyone. Welcome to all members of council and to all members of our staff who will provide us facts and information so we can make the best decisions in the interests of all of our full-time and seasonal residents of ACW. Welcome also to all members of the public joining us this morning, for County Planner Megan, and to any members of the media who may be joining us. I would like to comment that meetings of council are live streamed on the Township's official website in accordance with the live streaming and virtual participation of meetings policy. Do any members of council have a pecuniary interest to indicate at this time or potential conflict of interest of any agenda item that we have today? Thank you. Open forum is an opportunity for any members of the public. Oh yes, absolutely. 3.1 is the minutes from the 16th of December, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for these minutes. That would be Deputy Mayor moves and Councillor Forrester seconds that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby adopts the December 16, 2025 council meeting minutes as written. Do we have any questions on these minutes? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you, and thank you for that, Clerk. Under item 4, open forum is an opportunity for any members of the public to make any comments that they would care to regarding any agenda item that we have today. And if you'd like to make any comments, please go to the microphone and indicate your first and last name and the agenda item. Seeing none, we will move to our delegations, which is a public meeting, and that is the Committee of Adjustment. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder to adjourn the council meeting. And that would be Councillor Hickey and Councillor Snoblin seconds, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Council hereby adjourns the regular council meeting and opens the Committee of Adjustment meeting to review minor variance application MV04-2025 Yonsei. All in favor of this motion? That is carried. Thank you. I would like to call our Committee of Adjustment meeting to order and ask if any members have a pecuniary interest or potential conflict of interest with this agenda. Seeing none, we are reviewing minor variance application file ACW MV04-2025 Yonsei. I would like to welcome our County Planner, Megan Tidd-Hernick, to address us on this application this time.
Good morning. Just going to get my presentation ready here. Okay. Good morning, Mayor and members of Council. Today we have a minor variance application along Huron Street South in Port Albert. To give you a bit of context, this is the subject property outlined in orange. Just to note that the applicant does own the property to the east. So we have a proposal to place a travel trailer on Lot A, which is the westerly lot of the two that they own. The exact location of the trailer has not been provided to date. The minor variance application is seeking to grant relief of section 3.26.9 of the ACW zoning bylaw, which stipulates that no person shall, in any zone, use any tourist trailer, motorhome, or travel trailer for the purpose of providing temporary or permanent living or eating accommodations. Sleeping accommodation may be provided in a tourist or travel trailer for a period not exceeding 2 weeks per year. Trailers that are jacked up or with running gear removed are equally subject to this provision. So the proposed travel trailer is not a permitted use. Therefore, we are required to, relief is required in order to permit this use. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea of the history of the area. So we have an aerial photo from 1966, and you can see that no development is occurring in Port Albert or surrounding area. This photo is from 1978, and this is where we see one structure is to the very south of the subject property. And then we don't see any development again until 1999, and then we see two structures in the vicinity of this area. So then in 2006, we can see a structure of some sort on the property with three structures to the south as well. Then we have 2010. We don't see any structures on this property. 2015, similarly, no structures, no development. Things have stayed pretty much the same there. And then again in 2020, and this was when the applicant purchased the property in this area. A well was dug, hydro was hooked up to the property without the use being legally established and the building department being consulted. So we have talked to multiple staff and our partner agencies for this application. So the comments are in full in my report, but just to kind of give you a summary. ACW staff comments spoke to the compatibility of the land use. This area has been planned for future residential purposes. The lot plans for the area have been established, even though a good portion of them remain vacant. The Port Albert Servicing Master Plan outlines how development in this area is to occur, including the requirement that roads and servicing be constructed prior to development proceeding. The placement of a travel trailer does not align with this planned development framework, and the subject area is not designed or intended to function as a trailer park. Allowing the seasonal use of a travel trailer on residentially zoned lands would be inconsistent with the long-term planning for this area, as well as the township's intent for future development. And then we go to safe access. So we talked to fire and EMS, as well as our township public works department. The road condition of Huron Street South is not considered opened or maintained by the township at this time. The zoning bylaw states that no development shall be permitted on lots in the VR1 zone that do not have a frontage onto an open public road. The issue was raised by fire and EMS that if they are unable to safely access the property in the case of an emergency, or they're putting their equipment or personnel at risk, it then becomes an issue for them. The township does not have a timeline for developing this road, and we're not in a position to issue a permit for development at this time. So site servicing, we chatted with Maitland Valley Conservation as well as our CBO. It has come to their attention that a well was drilled on the west side of Huron Street, and hydro was also hooked up to the trailers that were placed there. Based on comments from both the CBO and the MVCA, it is not advisable to have servicing, including water, septic, hydro, hooked up to this site. Dumping stations are not publicly provided to this township for sanitary waste disposal if septic is not able to be provided. We do have an enforcement issue on this property. There were structures illegally placed down the lake bank as well as on the top. So our enforcement, our bylaw officer is actively involved in that. And then we have our natural hazards. So Maitland Valley Conservation Authority provided comments on this. You'll see on the map that we have the 25-year erosion rate outlined in kind of an orangey color there. No development is to take place west of that 25-year erosion hazard. The entire property is regulated by the Conservation Authority. So it is not recommended that any new use, including temporary uses, be permitted in the associated erosion risk.
I'm not seeing no orange line, I just see yellow.
It is orange on my screen, I apologize. This line right here.
Thank you. Please continue.
So we did receive 2 public comments from neighbors. They were not received before the submission deadline, so they were not in my report, but I just wanted to bring them to your attention here in my presentation. The 2 comments were supportive of the application. They saw no concerns with the use continuing on. From the planning review, so for a minor variance, we look at 4 tests. So does the development maintain the intent of the ACW zoning bylaw, and can it be considered minor in nature? So the proposed seasonal use of a travel trailer does not maintain the intent of the ACW zoning bylaw. It actually prohibits the use of travel trailers for anything longer than 2 weeks a year. The bylaw's clear purpose is to prevent the long-term or seasonal residential use of travel trailers, ensuring that residential occupancy only is permitted in permanent dwelling units, and maintain consistent standards for servicing, safety, and land use compatibility. Allowing a travel trailer to be placed and used seasonally on the property would contradict this policy. So the relief requested cannot be considered. And then the other test would be, does the development maintain the intent of the official plan, and is the variance considered to be desirable for the appropriate development of the land, building, or structure? So the official plan designates the property as Lakeshore Residential, which is intended to support low-density residential development within properly serviced and legally established dwellings. The introduction of a seasonal travel trailer use conflicts with the official plan directives. Allowing a travel trailer to function as a seasonal accommodation unit within this Lakeshore residential area does not align with the official plan. The emphasis on protecting neighborhood character and ensuring compatibility among uses for the long term. And just because there are other trailers in this area that may not have been there legally or there prior to the zoning bylaw being in place, does not mean that this is an appropriate use that should continue in the future. So with that, it is recommended that the requested variance does not maintain the intent of the ACW zoning bylaw or the official plan. It cannot be considered minor in nature and is not desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and it is, as such, is recommended for denial.
Okay, thank you very much, Megan. And as this is a public meeting, the process will be that we will offer the opportunity for any members of the public that are opposed to comment, that are in favor to comment, then the applicant will have an opportunity, followed by council. So at this time, do any members of the public like to speak against this application? Seeing none, is there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application? I will now go to the applicant. If you would care to make any comments on this application, please. And please identify yourself if you would, sir. We look forward to your comments.
Good morning, Your Honorable Mayor, members of council, staff. My name is Andrew Head from Dryden, Smith & Head Planning Consultants. Our firm on the Kitchener-Waterloo. We've been around for about 70, 80 years. Multi-generational, as we call it now, I guess. Megan, thank you very much for your presentation. If you could put the copy of the site plan up on the screen. I didn't have time to make a digital presentation, but I do have paper copies. You know, you can't ever have technical difficulties with a stack of maps. So I only have 6 copies here. If I don't know who the members of the committee are. Is it the entire council? Is it the entire council?
Yes, it is. And I'll just remind you, you have up to 5 minutes.
Oh,
for your
okay.
comments.
All right. Well, then I'll get started. I can just pass them.
Sure. Perfect.
Thank you. Okay. So the history of these lands, with me today is Matt and Carrie. They're the owners of the property. With them is one of the neighbors as well, who's here also in support of this application. The history of these lands is they purchased in 2020. At that time, the lands had a travel trailer on the property, and we understand that Google Images shows the same travel trailer in the same location in 2007 and 2013. With the existing and history of this use, Matt and Carey purchased the property in 2020. In 2024, a complaint was filed again with ACW that leads us to this minor variance application. Over the past year plus, we've had several meetings with staff. The pre-submission meeting was held on November 26, 2024, where staff requested we complete an archaeological study to ensure that the property didn't have any artifacts. No, nothing was found. We have no concerns. We have a release letter from the Ministry of Culture. Staff noted they would not be able to support a minor variance or a zone change. Through discussions with my client, we decided to come to the minor variance process. If you see the site plan, you can see this shows the former location and the proposed location of where a travel trailer, a trailer can be located. As you can see on both Lot A and Lot B, there is sufficient space to accommodate a trailer and parking and meet the zoning requirements. If you note in the zoning sketches, you can see that the adjacent lands to the south and north of this property are zone VR1-10. The subject lands are zone VR1 and natural environment. We are not making any changes to the natural environment zoning. The only difference between a VR1 zone and a VR110 zone is that VR10 allows for trailers to be located on the site. The neighboring properties also front onto Huron Road, which have park model trailers as well as travel trailers. We are not aware of why there's a difference in the zoning bylaw. Simply put, we are seeking to allow similar uses as the adjacent properties to this property. While we respect staff's technical assessment, we believe that the application requires a broader look at consistency and fairness. We are asking for a variance not to introduce a new use to the area, but to harmonize the property with the immediate neighbors. In plain terms, minor isn't just a number, it's about impact. Because this use has existed for 18 years without a single complaint until recently, and because the neighbors are doing exactly the same thing, the impact granting this variance is zero. This is a definition of what minor is. I'd like to speak to what the definition in the zoning bylaw about a travel trailer is. Travel trailer means a structure or vehicle designed, intended, and used exclusively for temporary or seasonal use, which is either capable of being drawn by a passenger vehicle or self-propelled. That's the key word. Is it being capable of drawing? I looked at the stats on this trailer that they had on the property. This thing's 44 feet long and it's 16,000 pounds. My truck, I have a full-size pickup truck. I can't pull that trailer with my truck legally. My trailer, the truck is not capable. That means this is not a travel trailer. I wasn't aware of this until yesterday. So, with this being used just in the summer months, just like the neighboring properties, we feel that this would allow for that the access could be allowed for temporary safe access to the subject lands, although the road is not considered open. We know that during the summer months, this road has and does create safe access to the subject lands and adjacent properties. According to Port Albert Servicing Master Plan, it is going to be upgraded in the near future, which makes this a temporary access and will soon legalize not only this property, but the adjacent properties. The subject lands are currently not serviced. We know Huron Road is slated for reconstruction. We are not asking for a permanent building on an unassumed road. Ultimately, we are asking for a temporary seasonal use until that road is modernized and the lands can be fully developed. Maitland, with no ground disturbances proposed, Maitland Conservation has no issues with this as long as we're outside of the 25-year. Thank you. Enforcement. We understand there were some enforcement issues on this property. Those have all been corrected. We're in the final stages of making this property complete in compliance. He built a structure that was it was to code, but it was outside what the building allowances were. Short answer is it's all been corrected. What we know, a trailer has existed on the property on and off since 2007. We know the neighbors have similar use properties. This property is zoned differently, but we do not know why. Huron Road can be safely accessed through the summer months. Huron Road is going to be upgraded in the near future. The trailer is located. I wanted to speak to the fourth test of the minor variance.
I believe your time has expired, sir, and I thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you, Your Honorable Mayor. At this time, could I ask for 2 more minutes to express that?
That would be up to council. So I will ask council if we're in agreement for 2 more minutes. Show of hands, please. And then That is supported by council. The majority, please continue for 2 minutes, and that's it.
I probably won't keep them. So the four tests and the minor variants are: is it in keeping with the official plan? Is it in keeping with the zoning bylaw? Is it compatible to the neighborhood? And is it minor in nature? Okay. So what we have is the official plan. If the other properties adjacent to it are legalized and there, then it's in compliance with the official plan for doing the same use. Same goes with the zoning bylaw. It's now considered not a travel trailer, because I don't think that definition fits what this trailer is. I'd be happy to bring up images of it, or let you guys Google what the trailer is. So is it minor in nature? Well, it's exactly in keeping with what the neighbors have in the same policies, and we feel that it's minor in nature, and it meets the four tests of the minor variants. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments, Andrew. I will now open it up to council if you have any comments of our planner, Megan, on this application. Deputy Mayor first, please.
Thank you. I didn't see any place where there's a septic tank out there on septic bed. Is there one there? And I guess I'd have to ask Megan that question.
Thank you. Megan, please.
That answer may be best answered by Joy, our CEO, regarding the septic tanks.
Okay, if I could please, Joy, respond to that if you would.
We do have records of septic provided on this property. We do not have septic records on this property in question.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Schulberg?
Can you clarify that? You have no records, but is there one without a record?
That would have to be made known by the resident that is making the application. There's been nothing put on permits.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Hickey, please?
Thank you. I have a few questions and comments. We'll see how this goes. First question is about the neighborhood. If there's other trailers on other lots along there, why is this one not? If there's travel trailers, we park all the trailers along there.
Okay, thank you. Megan, please.
Sure. So to answer that question, some of them showed up before the bylaw was in place. So in one of our housekeeping updates, there was the thought to bring them into compliance with the zoning bylaw. They have been an existing use, so they were provided a special zone at the time. This property was not that has had a historical use.
Yes, okay, excuse me. CEO, please.
So just to follow up with Megan, so they're legal non-conforming because they're prior to the zoning bylaw. That's the case.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Another question. It was said that this road is not part of the Port Albert Master Plan, and I heard it was. Is there a plan to build this road up in the future, or what is the status of that?
Okay, thank you. CEO, please.
This area is part of Port Albert Master Plan. And what was the second question?
Just if it was or not, because I thought in the report from staff it said it's not planned to go up at this time.
It is.
I might have heard that
It is part of the Port Albert Surfacing Master Plan, but there's no proposals for development of that road today.
Please continue.
A comment about the safe access. I'm not a firefighter or a police officer, but it's pretty flat there compared to hundreds of other cottages and properties we have along the lake shore, so I would question the safe access to that. And a comment about other properties with trailers. So you're saying 2 weeks you cannot live 30, like with a 2-week span to use a travel trailer on property. So if a family, in a scenario, if a family pulled a trailer out of storage on May 24th, used it, parked it behind their house, friends came over and used it on the property, kids used it as a sleepover with friends through the summer, and it sat there for 6 weeks. Is that non-compliant also? If there's a 2-week rule on putting trailers on property?
Thanks for the question. Megan, please.
Technically, yes, but we are a complaint-driven kind of operation, so would we know about it? Probably not, but there's also a permanent structure on that property. So is it more of a concern? Probably not. I don't know, but every situation is looked at specifically. And this one came to us based on an enforcement issue. Yeah.
Any further questions? Councillor Forster, please.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Can you reiterate the difference between a VR1 and a VR1/2? What is the difference?
Yep, so the VR1 is zoned for future residential uses, or existing residential uses, in this case future, and the VR1-10 was given a special zone to allow for those existing trailers on that site. So there's only a handful in KCW, and it is recognizing the uses that were there prior to the zoning bylaw coming into place.
This specific one is
It's just a VR1.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Miltenberg, please.
A couple questions. You know, I'm not that good with maps. There was a gentleman that came here quite a bit in my first 2 terms, who had an issue with, I believe it was this property. And so I think I'm very familiar with this property. That gentleman had, those buildings that were there were illegally placed. There was a complaint, they were removed. He sought something like this. The answer was no. He said he was going to sell the property. It appears he did. But in response to the fact that none of those roads could have this, because I don't think that at the time, certainly, and I haven't told them recently, Port Albert wants a trailer park back there. We came up with the Port Albert master plan so that people could develop their properties. And so when this sold in 2020, if they were unaware that they couldn't get a building permit, that's unfortunate. But at some point they must have become aware, because there was an illegal well and an illegal service, and it sounds like an illegal building, which someone complained about. And while it's nice that they're almost compliant now, that's 3 things that shouldn't have happened in the first place. The reason that there is no current plan for developing that road is because it's a budgetary item every year. We discuss it, and we just finished, what was it, Wellington and Ashfield. I'm not good with maps, you all know that. But, you know, that was the intent, so that people back there who can't build can, within the way that it should be built, and that's what was passed. So, when I first saw this on the agenda, I wondered why it was even on, because it goes against what we have been planning. It is a long-standing issue, which is what drove the Port Albert Master Plan. And Evan, while I appreciate it's a flat spot, I think you should look harder at your first statement, where you're not a firefighter or a police officer, because it's their job to decide that, not ours. Just like when Tom says that road's not in good shape, and I'm driving that and go, well, it looks fine to me. You know, that I'm not the education behind it, nor the experience. So I tend to take experts who say things like it's not safe and Maitland Valley doesn't want it there, and we as a council and the councils before decided that, yeah, it's an issue that people can't put things back there, so let's make it possible. So I would like to make a motion that we support the plan, if that's what's required at this point.
Not yet, but just hold that thought.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Councillor Snowland, please.
I guess I need a little clarification. Councillor Miltenberg mentioned that it's an illegal well and possibly illegal hydro hookup. Is that what you're referring to?
That's what I heard, I thought.
That's what I thought I heard too. Is that, can you confirm that it's an illegal well and illegally installed hydro service?
Thank you. Megan, please.
So they did go through all of the correct phases to get those services. So they contacted Hydro One. They did have, a certified well driller, but they did not contact Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. They didn't contact the building department. They didn't contact the planning department. not that we need to oversee those, but the overall use to have the trailer or a residence, anything on that site, is the part that was not done perhaps legally, so to speak. So I think it was a little bit premature to have those services before the use is established.
Okay, thank you. Follow up, please.
So can I assume then that the owner is gonna ahead and put the hydro and the well in knowing that it wasn't zoned properly? Willingly did that? I guess you're not in a position to answer that, but that's my question is why would you put something in that goes against the rules when you haven't followed the first rule of order? It kind of bothers me a little bit that you would do things in reverse like that. I also would, you know, if there's somebody's got their hand raised.
I think the question should be directed to her.
Let me gather my my thought process here. I guess if the owner is looking for relief from the zoning, I'd be concerned about environmental, because I thought I read something about a porta potty being emptied at a regular basis. So do they have a septic and a porta potty, and how does that work? I'm not really that keen on knowing all of that information.
Megan, please.
So as far as we are aware, there is no septic there. Our building department is not able to issue a holding tank. So yes, it is our understanding that they have a porta potty that is being perhaps pumped out on a regular basis, but that, again, to my understanding, and Joy can correct me if I'm wrong, that does not meet building code.
So I guess if the owners are looking for relief of this, I think I could live with a relief for a certain amount of time. You know, a period of say so many months or something. But before that would happen, in my mind, I'd have to have some assurance that the environmental area is going to be safe, that there's no leaching down to the lake or into the land, and that there's a commitment on the owner's part that, you know, that there is going to be a structure built there at some point, and that will be required. I think that's a compromise, but that's my position on it. But if they're not willing to do that, then I'm not willing to look at relief on that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blake, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just for some clarification, looking at the erosion line, from my understanding, my view of it, it just leaves it behind the little corner of the property. It's within 25 years of erosion, don't have construction. Is that correct?
Megan, please.
So Maitland Valley Conservation Authority's policies are actually, it needs to be outside of the 100-year erosion. And on the site plan here that was provided,
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Okay, so thank you for that. So I am correct in saying that property is basically useless to put a permanent structure up in. So with that being said, I do understand that the well was drilled, hydro was serviced, but I just want clarification again. The township doesn't have any authority to oversee those two items. Is that correct?
Thank you. Megan, please.
that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Just need to have those items clarified. I understand there's been issues with this property. However, if a trailer was placed on it, seeing as they can't use the property as a permanent structure, if we could deal with the septic issue of something being discussed and agreed upon to be sanitary, I would be okay with that if there is a proper procedural reason.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Councillor Milford, please.
I would suggest that it makes our bylaw inefficient. It makes the Port Albert plan obsolete. It opens it up for everybody to say, well, look, we're just gonna put this on. The rules are there for a reason. The property, I believe, was sold for a reason. If they weren't aware of that, that's actually a lack of due diligence. But that was a really well-known property with those problems. And we are trying to fix the problem, which was brought to our attention way more than 12 years ago, with the master plan. We are trying to make it so not only they are happy, but everyone is happy. And I would suggest that the fact that no one is complaining is what I would do if I knew what the rules were and I was against it, because I want to be a good neighbor. But it's literally not allowed by any standard on here. And I shouldn't have to go against my neighbor. The township rules are there for a reason. And I'm going to amend the fact that I still would like to support this, but I would like a recorded vote at that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? CAO, please.
I just want to clarify a few things. So on this particular lot, no buildings can be erected. Is that correct? So there.
Megan?
That is correct.
Okay. So a travel trailer is a building. It's a structure. So that the same rules should apply. This is not the vision that the municipality sees. We have a Port Albert Servicing Master Plan. It's residential. It's not a trailer park. Trailer parks, if you want to create a trailer park, there's proper zoning to go through, proper channels to go through. If council approves this, they are setting precedents in this whole community. So it's good enough for them. Why is it good for the entire Port Albert? The council need to take a look at this. Do they want the entire Port Albert area to be a trailer park? And I don't think the answer is yes.
Councillor Snowbloom, please.
Question to Mark. What happens to the VR1-10 properties when and if the master servicing plan goes through to that area? Will they be required to be removed at that time, or will they still be grandfathered in legal non-conforming at that point?
Thank you. CAO, please.
I don't know if I can comment on that today because I'm not prepared unless the planner or the clerk want to comment on, but I have some voices that are.
Clerk, please.
I just had a question about the VR10 zoning that I think might help some of this. Obviously a VR1-10 is there to allow the existing trailers to be there. What happens if that owner wants to replace their trailer? Are they allowed to do that or not?
Megan, please.
Yes, technically they can replace it because it is legal non-conforming.
Just wanted to ask that.
Good, thank you. Councillor Forrester, please.
Thanks, man. So that Huron Street falls in the
This property, your question.
but the whole road is
Okay.
within,
That's the question. Megan, please.
Yes, the majority of Huron Street South falls within the 100-year erosion hazard.
so we're allowed to fix that even though
Megan, please. Or CAO, please.
We're not proposing any construction on Huron Street yet. This could be many, many years down the road, so I think we need to look at it at that time.
it'd be kind of dumb to fix it, correct?
I can't answer that because I don't know when it's going to be fixed. It might be 40 years from now. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just from my history here, so if and when one of these other properties go up for sale, then at that point in time, just exactly the same as what these people run into, it would have to be brought up to our standards as of now, right?
Megan, please.
That's correct.
Councillor Snowbloom, please.
I guess just a comment from what Megan said and I understood is that if there is a trailer that's on a VR1-10 property now, and if they decided to replace it legally, they could. I guess that's where I was going with my question, because I haven't been down that road for a while, but as I recall, some of those trailers look to be on the older side. everything has a shelf life, a house and a trailer and a boat and everything has a shelf life. And at some point, somebody needs to replace it. And it kind of bothers me that it's a little bit unfair that, you know, this person with an older trailer can replace it, but somebody wants to put on a trailer that I might suggest is relatively new and might improve the aesthetics of that area. Can't do it. I guess, can you help me justify that in my mind, Megan?
Thanks for the question. Megan, please.
So keeping all of that in mind, the zoning could allow that, but the Conservation Authority may not. So if this needs a permit, they may not allow a new structure to be placed there because of the high erosion hazard. Our building department may not allow a new permit to be issued. Will the zoning allow for it? Yes. But are there other agencies or, you know, things that may not allow it? Also, yes.
Okay. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to the legal nonconformity because it's not just for houses, it's for things like cannabis greenhouses. And there's one in Central Huron really close to the town, which they need to buy afterwards. And there's a lot of neighbors who don't like it, but because it's legal nonconforming, it can go on for in perpetuity. And Leamington, Kingsville area is a terrible problem with it. The rules are there now, but they get to stay there forever. So the fact that there's some that really shouldn't be there in the first place get to stay there is really unfortunate. But that doesn't mean we should compound the problem by adding more because it's not fair that the first guys got there. Legal nonconforming is forever, right? And to let other people do it just because some people lucked out is I think, for the planet. I swear that's my final comment.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Snowden.
Another question for CEO Mark Becker. Mark, I understand your sense of setting precedent. I totally understand that, and I do support that. You know, under almost every 99% of the time. But I guess if we were to go ahead and change the zoning on this and give relief to this, and let's just say we changed it to the same zoning as everybody else, if another resident in the township came to us and asked for a trailer similar to this to be put on an adjacent property to theirs, would we be able to defend it by saying, going back as precedent, this lot was the only lot in a string of lots that was zoned differently, but what you're doing is not the case. You know, you're looking at an adjacent lot that was always zoned this. Would you feel that you could defend that if somebody, if in that scenario, could defend a decision today on this?
Thank you. CEO, please.
The VR 110, is that what it is? They're established that way only for one reason. The reason was they existed at the time of the zoning bylaw. So you can't make this lot VR 10 because it didn't exist. So we look at where we're at today. Today, it doesn't allow for building. And that's what we're looking at today. It doesn't allow for building. Being a building, it could be a trailer, it could be a cabin, it could be a house. It does not allow. And the Port Albert Surfacing Master Plan is put in place for residential. But the VR 110 is for the existence, and this is not that particular case. So we'll see Florence that add to it.
Megan, please.
I just also wanted to clarify that this isn't a zoning bylaw amendment application. They're not asking to rezone it to VR 1-10. Yeah.
Clerk, please.
I just wanted to reiterate that the intention of the Port Albert Servicing Master Plan is to make sure that development happens the way that council decided that it was going to happen. So council agreed to pass that plan based on almost 10 years of work. The owners back there, where there's a road that's not opened or maintained by the municipality, if they want to develop, if they want to build a house, they can make an application to the township, and we would add that to the budget line, and then it would be billed out accordingly. That's the process by which development, proper development would happen here. That's the process that's been set out. And, you know, not going that route is, obviously it's less expensive, but it isn't the way that it's been set out. So I just wanted to reiterate that opening up Huron Street is possible. It isn't a like, so Wellington Street, those other streets that are there, they're municipally, they're open. We add them to the plan, we upgrade it, we make sure that the storm sewer is available, all of that kind of stuff. And because they're municipally owned roads, we initiated those projects. The projects in the other areas that are not open or maintained, those are initiated by the landowners. They come to council and ask, and then we put it into the budget process. You know, to keep everyone keeping the that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's my understanding. So there is a process in place, and I mean, there's obviously many ways to skin a cat. However, yes, that's.
Okay, I just have some questions, and I think we should wrap this up, and that is to Megan. There are 4 requirements for minor variance, and this does not meet any of the 4. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And it does not front on a public road that is required. Is that correct?
Also correct.
And is within the 25-year erosion.
Correct.
Councillor Miltenberg, you had a motion a few minutes ago you're thinking about. Would you like to introduce it at this time, please?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that this application be denied, and I'd like to record a vote. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? And that is Deputy Mayor Vanstone. I will pass it over to the clerk.
All right, just give me a minute. Excuse me, just give me a minute to set up the recording.
I'm sure you can hear me well.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, a motion has been moved by Councillor Miltenberg, seconded by Deputy Mayor Vanstone. The motion was requested to be recorded. The motion on the floor will be that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Committee of Adjustment deny minor variance application MV04-2025 Yancey on the basis that the requested variance does not maintain the intent of the ACW zoning bylaw or the ACW official plan, cannot be considered minor, and it is not desirable for the appropriate development of the land. As such, the application does not satisfy the 4 tests of a minor variance under section 45 of the Planning Act. Councillor Miltenberg. So the motion is to deny. You have to make a decision.
Yes, so
you are agreeing that it's going to be denied. So
Yes.
you're saying, yes,
Yes.
it's denied.
yes, thank you for clarifying. Yes.
Yes, it's awkward. The problem is that when you have a committee that has to make a decision, whether or not it's a positive or negative, you have to vote. Okay? Councillor Forrester.
Yes.
Councillor Snowbelin.
Yes.
Councillor Blake.
No.
Councillor Hickey.
No.
Deputy Mayor Vanstone.
Yes.
Mayor McNeil.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Megan, what would you like to suggest to us as to the effect of public and agency comments on this decision, please?
Okay, so that would be 5A and 6B. Public comments were received on the issues of safe access, site servicing, and land uses. Comments were thoroughly considered, but the effect did not influence the decision of council to deny the application. And 6B, comments were received from agencies identifying the issues of safe access, site servicing, natural hazards, and land use compatibility, the effect of which influenced the decision of council to deny the application.
Okay, thank you very much. So it has been recommended for 5A and 6B, and I will ask a council in support of this by a show of hands. And that is supported by council. Thank you very much. And with that, and thank you very much, Megan, and all involved in this public meeting. With that, I will entertain a mover and a seconder to close the Committee of Adjustment, and that is Councillor Blake and Forrester, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council closes the Committee of Adjustment. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And I will now entertain a motion to reconvene our regular council meeting. And that is Councillor Blake and Miltonberg, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh reconvene the regular council meeting. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. We will move on to Treasury, and the first item would be 6.1, and that is the payment of the current accounts. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder for these, please. That is Deputy Mayor Vanstone, Councillor Snobland. Seconds, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby authorizes the payment of the January 2026 accounts as presented. Are there any questions on these? Councillor Miltonberg first, please.
Yeah, I would just like to report I'm really having technical difficulties with my iPad, and I'm wondering if Councillor Forrester would mind sharing. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Snobland, please.
I have a question on page 4 and 5. On page 4, it's the very bottom submission, and it's for Daikin Incorporated, and I don't have a problem with the amount. It's called a Geo-Car subscription, roads overhead something or other. I wonder if somebody could explain that to me, what that is. Maybe if the question's been asked before. If it has, I've forgotten the answer, but I'm just curious to know.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, and I think our Public Works Superintendent, Mr. McCarthy, will be very capable of responding to this comment.
So, Daikin's the company, Geotab's the software. It's the GPS systems in our fleet, so it measures things like, is the plow up or down, the fuel usage in all of the vehicles that have the computers can measure that sort of thing. If the vehicle's driving too fast, if the operator's not wearing a seatbelt, it's very nice and new.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Snobland.
Wow, that seems pretty incredible technology. Way beyond my comprehension, but I'm glad we have it. The next question is page 5. It's the first submission, Direct IT Limited, and it's a land manager subscription for $25,756.19. And it mentions that it's a land manager maintenance in the building department. I wonder if somebody could explain what a land manager subscription is.
Okay, thank you for the question. Joy, please.
Yes, thank you. The land manager subscription is our fee for using our building software for the year.
Follow up.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I'm sorry, I'm not that technical, so I have a hard time just comprehending that answer. Could you give a little more details to that?
Okay, I think CAO, please.
So we have this all the time. We have with our accounting software, we have it with Land Manager. This is a common thing. So you purchase the package and then they maintain it. So throughout the year, if there's issues with they're on call, they can help us out, or when there's new updates provided, the government makes changes to the building code, Land Manager will amend it, and the same with our accounting software. So this is common.
Okay, thank you.
So the subscription is $25,000 a year?
Yes, it is. Our accounting software is expensive as well. It's crazy, but it does keep things up to date. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, Joy.
I don't question the reason for it or the necessity of it. I'm just astonished at the price, and I guess maybe I might be astonished at the price of a lot of IT things because I'm not in that industry. I wouldn't know what normal prices would be.
Okay, thank you. Clerk, please.
So that also will include, in certain circumstances, will include the licensing or the ability to use it annually. It is expensive. East Drive has one, an accounting firm. There's different softwares that manage different quite frankly, I don't know how we would do lots of it if we didn't have it.
Okay, thank you. Follow up, please.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is interested in this, but would it be possible for staff to come back with just a list of subscriptions and how much they cost, just for an FYI? Is that too onerous to ask? I don't ask because I'm questioning the necessity of it or the validity of it. I'm just questioning it because we can go back to residents and say, hey, this is what it costs in the real world in the 21st century now for IT. This is what it costs for our meetings to happen. This is what it costs for us to do, make sure the snowplow is at the right angle because it's all IT driven. I don't know if anybody else would support that, but I think it might be interesting to have, as long as it didn't, put too much effort and onerous work on staff.
Okay, I think our treasurer would be prepared to make a comment. Ellen, please.
I think we could put a little blurb in the budget about in a line item like what part of that is a subscription with the increase over last year. I think that's
Councillor Snowbloom, please.
I think that's a great idea, but again, if you can do that in the budget, would you be able to just do that in a staff report? Just, FYI information at an upcoming meeting.
Okay, thank you. CAO, please.
Yeah, I don't think that's, I don't see the purpose of that, Anita, but I think what Ellen mentioned, I think that's probably more appropriate at the time for discussion. I think we get more benefit out of that when we're looking at a line item to say it's $58,000 of it, $25,000 a subscription. She can address that in the budget. I think a staff report coming to council just to bring that to attention would serve no purpose, but the purpose during the budget would probably hit the nail on the head.
I can live with that.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor, please.
Yeah, and just for clarification, when I looked at that, does that come out of our budget or come out of the building budget?
We're one big happy family. It's one big budget, but it comes out of the building department budget. Yes.
Fair enough. Councillor Forster.
Thanks, Glenn. I'm just a little curious. BM Ross and Associates, is that here in Haven we do? Is that all about?
I'm sure some.
Someone knows, Wayne.
Okay,
You just don't add those to the.
CAO, please. Joy.
Okay.
Joy, please.
Page 3. Great.
Okay, thank you. Joy, please.
The note regarding DM Ross and Karen Haven is the review to close out the project of the bluffs in Karen Haven with the new development there.
Okay, thank you. And also I noticed, like the signs, that we did, license and something. I'll take it to the top.
Tom, you're good with that?
Yeah, so that's the Western Star we purchased, so you'll see a separate bill for the licensing under the same line item. So we paid, when we purchased it, we paid for the truck, and then there's a separate bill for the plowing equipment. And then there should be another line item for $1,000 for the licensing.
Yeah, I take it as get license plate.
Yep.
So is it here or no?
It is throwing snow off of Glens Hill as of this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? If not, all in favor of the motion. And that is carried. Thank you. The payment of the previous month actual accounts, a mover and a seconder for these, please. Councillor Blake and Miltonberg, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby approves the payment of the December 2025 accounts in the amount of $4,295,299.28. Do we have any questions on any of these things? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that again is carried. Thank you. 6.3 is the summary revenue/expenditure reports, and I'm mover and the seconder for these, please. Deputy Mayor Vanstone moves, Councillor Forrester seconds, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council adopts the summary revenue/expenditure reports as written for the Township, the Lucknow District Medical Center, and the Lucknow District Recreation from January to December of 2025. Do we have any questions on any of these numbers? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that again is carried. Thank you. 6.4 is a borrowing bylaw that is done annually if needed to be, and we have not exercised this in many years. However, with the new year underway, Council will need to adopt this bylaw for 2026 to cover current expenditures if needed until such time as revenues are received. And I will ask for a show of hands if we are in support of consideration of this in Section 18 of the bylaw. And that is supported by Council. Thank you. 7.1 is the Planning Department, the delegated consents. It is for information purposes. Are there any questions for Megan on this? And if not, the Building Department is 8.1. Joy has provided a report, and again, for information purposes, is there any questions of Joy on this report? Seeing none, Deputy Mayor, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And when I was going through this, there's nothing on our bylaws, bylaw officers in here that I could see, so maybe I could bring this up at the time. I understand we're having some problems, and is it underway over in here in Haven?
Do you want to repeat that question, please?
What item are we on right now, sir?
Well, I'm not on an item because there's nothing on here about bylaw enforcement.
Okay, so we need to stick to the agenda.
So you can't bring anything up under besides what's on the agenda?
That's correct.
So, okay.
So we're on the Chief Building Official's report. Are there any questions on this? For information purposes, and the next is the year-end building report. Those are for all of 2025. Any questions on this? If not, 9.1 is the Marriage Commissioner's report. It is for information purposes. Any questions on this? 9.2 is the Lucknow District Fire Board minutes and the budget. And again, for information purposes, any questions on this? If not, 9.3 is the 2025 digital performance report. Very positive for information purposes. Well done, Kelly. Any questions? Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Sorry. Right here. Great report. Can't see it right now, but Wayne's gonna bring it up. Well, my memory is, I thought it was a great report, and I appreciate the update, and I'm wondering how often we're gonna update it, because like you just started a few things, so could we update it in like 6 months or something? Because, you know, when you start something, it starts rolling. Or annually, or what are we thinking on the update? Because I really appreciate the update.
Okay, provided the question, comment.
I don't know what best
Kelly,
practice is.
please.
Sorry, what? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the update, and I would like a further update, and I'm wondering what our thoughts on it, how often we're going to update, because this is a new initiative.
You're referencing 9.3, the digital performance?
Yeah, she told us the trends of what things are happening, right?
We do this
Once a year? Okay.
Okay, you're good with that. Councillor Snowden, please.
Yeah, your last sentence, Kelly, and I do appreciate the report. I think it's very interesting. And just as an aside, I was attending a meeting yesterday with a nonprofit, and they were going through all the analytics of this. And boy, you can go into a deep dive on this real quickly. So I do appreciate what you provided for us here. Your last sentence says in 2026 the focus will be on further expanding these digital channels and maximizing engagement. I wonder if you could give us an overview of what your plan for that is and how you plan to do the expanding the digital channels and maximizing engagement. Just a rough overview.
Thank you. Kelly, please.
Yeah, so Facebook, we've seen growth there with our new followers. The texting service has really grown compared to the previous year. I think I had probably 10 new subscribers in the past week. So we promoted in our newsletter and online. We did include a new channel for emergency notifications. We saw tremendous sign up in there. So I think every time we have something to communicate, I'm going to put it out on all the channels
website, texting, social media, trying to get as many people as we can.
Okay, thank you. Follow up, please, Councillor Snowden.
Two follow-up questions. So on the texting, I'm glad to see that that's going. Did I see like about 3,000 on there? Yeah, 3,674. So, ideally, it'd be nice to get probably double that, right? 5,000 or 6,000, because that would possibly represent that many households, or almost that amount of population. And I think just about everybody has texting. I think kids in grade 4 have texting now. So, but I guess that's something that I could see where you would put your efforts in. Can you talk a little bit about the emergency, what did you call that, emergency notification or something, and how is that going, and how do people sign up for that, and is that for road closures or burn bans or that sort of thing?
Thank you. Kelly, please.
So our texting service, when you sign up, you choose what notifications you want. So we have everything from the landfill to waste and recycling to office closures, road closures, emergency notifications. So you choose what messages and content you want to receive. I can't recall if we've sent out an emergency notification yet, but we do have, I think, over 100 subscribers to that. So if we need to get information out ASAP, we would utilize that. We do utilize it a lot for boil water advisories. So you can sign up for your specifics of Indiana, Bengal, or Century Heights. So then they get the information right away. Pretty much, minutes after we receive the information, they have the information.
Okay, thank you. Follow up.
Hopefully, final question. You mentioned about waste management. So I know as a councillor, and I'm sure other people around the table get calls and questions and complaints about, the waste management trucks didn't show up or whatever. So just correct me if I'm wrong. Can people sign up to that alert that if by chance the waste management truck somehow isn't going to be going past their place that day, that they'll get a notification? Can you just confirm that for me?
Thanks. Kelly, please.
Yes, that is correct. So we actually sent one out on December 29th. It was a stormy day. We received a notification from Waste Management that their trucks were struggling with the weather. Sent out a notification to all those areas saying due to the weather your garbage may not be picked up, and advising them that
I think this is great information, and I think this is information that we can really direct our citizens towards and in a positive way. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Perfect. Thank you. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, further to that, I didn't even know a lot of the texting stuff. And again, new subscriber. But I think where you cross posts, like in Facebook and that, and I haven't seen any of the posts, although I do follow you on Facebook. But if we put in, like I was unaware that I get a lot of calls about garbage, so if we'd say if you want to, get an alert about garbage, I would happily reshare that post. The other thing I wanted to mention, and the reason I ask about how often are we getting notices, because I know the e-newsletter is a fairly new. We have 97 subscribers, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I will tell you that a 67.7% opening rate is phenomenal. It really is. So the people are subscribing, really want it, and hopefully that too will spread word of mouth, and the more you cross-post, the more people will be aware that it's available. So it looks to me like it's great. It really is doing a great job here. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? We're good with that? Well done. We'll move on to the Water Department, the Veolia report for information purposes. Do we have any questions on this? Seeing none, we have nothing under Drainage, Public Works. The report has been provided to us, again for information purposes. Do we have any questions of Tom on this report? Councillor Hickey, please.
Thank you. I have a question for Tom, for you, Mr. Mayor. Question, I guess, clarification for the public about snow removal. I know on snowy days it's hard to keep up. When the roads and the sidewalks and driveways are drifting behind you, it's just a battle all day long. Can you explain us how the procedure of the day goes on a snow day? what patrol is done, what times, what time plows you're trying to get out, just so we can see the full scope of the day.
Thanks for the question, Tom, please.
Okay, so generally the patroller will be on the road at 4 a.m. and if they know in advance that they're going to get called in anyway, the guys will be discussing it a day in advance. The plows are generally plowing by 5, 4:30 to 5, with the idea that they're going to finish their route by around 9. We've had we've had a few days with the extreme whiteout conditions, and we might have to pull the plows off the road. But on a normal day, if you go out, done your route by 9, and then obviously we keep in mind where the buses are and conditions. The plan would be to go out again, starting at maybe 10:30, 11, and have another pass of the roads so that people can come home from work or the buses can come home. Obviously you've got a lot of, we put out a lot of sand and salt. This year we've had to refill Colborne and we're doing Ashfield as well. Today, this is because of the large amount of freezing rain, so in the event that it's like a lot of the days it's rained all day, the gravel roads we put out notices if it's raining all day that they're freezing out, so I might have to have people going all day long ice blading or putting sand out on intersections. So it depends a lot on what the conditions are, and we try and make the best decisions to use our resources wisely. If there's any other specific questions?
Well, thanks for that comprehensive overview. Councillor Hickey, please.
Just to follow up to that, no, that answers it. I've had a lot of phone calls, like I'm sure other people have about it, and I know it's a battle. With the snow blowing in behind you, you can't keep up on certain days, I understand that. There was an example, past my place there this past year, I had a snowplow go past at 5:50 in the morning, and another one went past before 11 for the second pass. And it was a long time, certain spots in our road, as the controllers were known, and even certain parts of all of our roads drifting quite quickly. So it's a long time from 11 a.m. until 5 a.m. the next morning when people are trying to get home. So I'm just curious on the schedule, how the plows get out, how you determine what roads and how often.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is legally we're only allowed to operate for so many hours. I know I've had people say, I go out to work in the middle of the night to work at the mine, and I'm like, well, I can't continue, like we don't have double shifts. If the winds are blowing in a certain direction and we notice that the drifting is like north to south, then we might do roads that are perpendicular to the wind first. So there's a lot of challenges. If you look at my towing budget for getting trucks out of the ditch, it's high this year, and that doesn't even take into account the guys pulling each other out with the grader. So between the whiteout conditions, freezing rain, new staff, the guys don't get thanked enough for the hard work that they do, so I know we all here appreciate them. I just say it out loud. They do the best they can to deliver high level of service, and they're proud of it.
Well put. Councillor Hickey, please.
Just a quick follow-up. So that interval, you said approximately 4:35 a.m. and you're back on the road approximately 10:30 or 11 for the second pass. Is that how the standard's been over the past years? Has that changed at all? Is that what it has been, the interval has been over the years, or what's been?
Since I've been here and what I've always done, and like other municipalities and other superintendents I know that live in my house, their plowing schemes. It's always like a morning run and an afternoon run. If you're with the county, you might see like a second shift, and if you're on a provincial road, you might have those round the clock service. So we try to time things the best we can. There's been, I think, 4 notices put out this year to ask people if they don't have to travel, please don't, just because we can't keep up. Yeah.
Okay, you're good. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, Tom. I've mentioned it to you, and I think the guys should be thanked. I milk cows in the morning, and I sit, and they're like clockwork. At 5:30 in the morning, they're at the corner where, I always call it Blake's, but it's not Curtis's. There's a house there, and even with the 4-wheel drive, unless the plow goes through, you can't get through. So I'll be drinking coffee, and I don't leave until I see the plow goes, and then I go milk cows. And my son drives to Wingham at the same time. We follow each other, and when the plow goes, he goes, and the county road is always done. And my road is not, like Tower Line is not south, but Tower Line north is. And the key thing is that corner has to be knocked out. So on the days that, the one day it was really storming, and it was snowing so heavy that day, I couldn't even see Alton's lights, much less the plow, so I called in to work, which my son really appreciated. But they're like clockwork at 5:30, they really are, and I don't leave until I see them. And then they come by my house, which is on Tower Line South. If it's a good day, it's around 7, and if it's a nasty day, it's closer to 9, and I know exactly what time it is by what time the plow goes by, really. So they do leave at that time of day, and they certainly get to my corner at the exact same time every day. So I have told them last year, and they are a lifesaver to my corner anyway. Later in the day, when I stay home, I wouldn't be able to comment on that, but certainly in the morning they're out there. And I think they do a great job. So I'll say it again, Tom, tell them thanks for me.
Thank you for those comments, and actually on behalf of ACW Council, thank you very much to all of our various staff and all the departments, and specifically on this topic of public works. It's not easy. They're out on days and in the dark when we wouldn't opt on it. So thank you very much to all of our public works staff. We appreciate your dedication, and all of our staff. So with that, we'll move on to the public works employee appointments. We have read that. Any questions on this? And I'll ask for a show of hands for consideration of this in section 18 as a bylaw. And that is supported by council. Thank you. The clothing allowance policy amendment is being amended from $500 to $600, which is very appropriate, and it is for the public works staff. And I will again ask for a show of hands if council is in support of this, and it will come back to a future meeting. A question, please, Councillor Hickey.
Does this include safety boots in this amount? Is this just clothing, or what's included in 500 to 600?
Thank you, Tom, please.
Yeah, it includes footwear. The real genesis for the report was the setting up of the account, and then when I talked to other municipalities and saw where we were, and then keeping in mind that I hadn't updated this for 5 years, I realized we were falling behind. So I think it's important for safety boots for those of us that buy them. You're looking at like usually $250, and then outerwear, t-shirts, all of the high visibility stuff is not cheap, and we're requiring the guys to wear it. We want them to look professional, so this is the report that we
Good at that? Okay. Councillor Snowblin and then Deputy Mayor.
Oh, thanks, Tom. I fully endorse your recommendation. I'm just curious as to the nearby safety clothing supplier. I don't know if it's appropriate at this time to announce who that is, or how have you decided, I guess, who that supplier should be, and what kind of vetting process have you done, or is this a clothing supplier that 99% of the staff use? I just wondered your process thinking on that.
Thank you. Tom, please.
So they're already using. I received several receipts from one. talking with Central Huron, they're looking at another one that's more towards Goddard. But it's, instead of having the employee float $600 and wait till it gets processed that return, it's just nicer for them to have the account. Just so that we're on the same page, the employee would go to the outlet. The outlet would form a work order. The order would have to be approved before the clothing is ordered, and then that's the process. They don't just have like free reign over whatever.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Snowden, please.
Follow up on that. Thanks, Tom. I do understand that process. I guess that where it's coming from, if there was one clothing provider within the area, then there's no competition and it's a given that nobody's going to question why you chose that supplier. But if there's more than one supplier, how do you decide who gets the contract? Or is this something that needs to go with an RFP or something? I'm looking at CAO for that.
Okay, CAO, please.
This would be an option for our staff, so if someone wants to get it wherever they want, they go get it wherever they want. But if they want to get it from this account that's established in Public Works, they go there. But others may choose to get it wherever they want.
Okay, thank you. So,
Sorry, Tom.
okay, so again, I'm just gonna ask for a show of hands. Oh, yeah, Deputy Mayor, please.
Yes, but we supply this safety stuff for the guys, don't we? Like the hard hats and that kind of stuff? Or they don't have to take the $600 and use it, do they?
Thank you. Good question, Tom.
So there's like a list of the safety clothing that is in the policy. So anything outside of that, like you say chaps or work gloves or hard hat, safety glasses, that's outside of then we would pay for that. And this is just for work clothing and safety boots.
Okay. Good to that. And so again, I'll just ask for a show of hands, and this will come back as an amended policy to the future. Thank you, and that's supported by council. Do any members of council have a committee report that they would like to share at this time? Councillor Hickey, please.
Thank you. Just trying to pull it up here. Just one quick report from Maitland Valley. I had a meeting on December the 17th. Phil Beard is postponing his retirement until December 31st, 2026 or longer if needed. It's hard to post a job when you don't know what the job is at the end of this year or before the end of this year. So he wants to stay on to help us through this time, so Phil Beard is staying intact with us. We talked about the draft budget coming up. We'll have some numbers for you shortly for that. Maitland Valley is celebrating the 75th anniversary this year, and we're still going ahead happy and excited to go through it, so we're going as best we can. So August 30th in Brussels at the conservation area from 12 till 4, they're having a big celebration. I was looking for the information. I can't bring it up right now, but it's going to be an event. They're planning workshops, they're having a boat building with water, they're having bird people, they're having a whole bunch of different displays and activities for family and people that day in Brussels. August 30th at the Brussels conservation area from 12 till 4. And then also coming up is the annual general meeting on February the 18th at 2 p.m. in the lower hall at the Blythe Community Hall. I know staff and Phil and staff are working hard to prepare presentations for us and the event for that day as well. So 2 days coming up for that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for that information. Councillor Blake, please.
Yeah, thank you. We had the first meeting for the Property Standards Committee Working Group, and I was really happy with all the members that council chose to put on that committee. And I think it was a really good discussion during the first meeting, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Any additional reports? And I echo those comments, Councillor Blake. Okay. Oh, Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Can you just remind me who's on the committee? I can't remember. That was your first meeting, right? Yeah. Who's on the committee?
Yes, Councillor Blake, please.
Yes. So myself, Wayne Forrester, Glenn McNeil sat in on the first meeting. Members of the public, we have Dan Hayden, Lynn Harris, I believe the name was, Doug Fines, and, Kristen Fines. So, I need some
Okay, yes, please, Councillor Milburn.
And is there a chair and a vice chair or whatever?
Yes, I could respond that Councillor Blake is the chair and Councillor Forster is vice. CEO, please.
And Curtis, I told him the other night, we did an amazing job of doing it.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other committee reports? Seeing none, I thank you for that. Is there any new business that anyone would like to bring forward for a future meeting? Councillor Forster, please.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. It just popped up on my Facebook feed, Howick Township minutes, and the read gives a blurb on other council. When that happened, or I know it's they read does that. That happened here.
Anything can happen, like the minutes of county council, public information. Anyone can see anything specifically, or if you'd like an overview, that can be provided if that was the wish.
Sure, an overview would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Is there anything else that anyone would like brought up for a future meeting? Seeing none. We have nothing under correspondence for direction. We have 4 items for information purposes. Is there anything that anyone would like to comment about on that? Receive a letter from Mr. Thompson. Here we go. And yes, please, Councillor Miltenberg.
I guess it's more to Evan. It's not pulled up that letter to Maitland Valley. Has there been any movement on making 36 into 7, or where are we at in that process?
Okay, thanks for the question. Councillor Hickey, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot of discussion going on. The only thing I can say is a comment was made that it will not be 7, but it's not staying 36. So that sounds to me like there's room to maybe not negotiate, but it's going on.
So someone on the other side, meaning the provincial government, not just someone
Give a comment made, yes.
by the provincial government. Someone
from, yes, on the other side said that comment. So that to us tells me that they kind of threw this out there as a big one, and then there is plan B backup. They always have a plan B backup.
And can you remind me of when the date? I think it's fairly soon this is all supposed to be decided.
It's going to be, it's still in discussions. The comment period was done December 22nd. So it's in the process after the comment.
Thank you.
And would you like to cite the date that would be implemented, a decision?
End of 26, early 27 is all we've been told, but there's still discussions going on. There's still changes happening.
Okay. All right. Anything else on that for information? And if not, we have under unfinished business the Roma conference this coming weekend. Councillors Hickey, Miltenberg, Snowblin, and myself are registered for that, and I believe CAO and our clerk are also in attendance at that. That is from Sunday until Tuesday. The Ogre Conference, Councillor Forrest and myself are registered for that, the end of March, 1st of April. It moves us to our bylaws, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for the borrowing bylaw, please. And that is moved by Councillor Blake, seconded by Councillor Miltenberg, that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 01-2026, being a bylaw authorizing the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh, and then it now be read severally, a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 13th day of January 2026. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And 18.2 is the appointment of the Public Works employees, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for these, please. Councillor Forrester moves, Councillor Hickey seconds. The leave be given to introduce bylaw number 02-2026, being a bylaw to appoint Public Works positions for the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh, and then it now be read severally, a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 13th day of January 2026. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We do have a closed session today, and so I will entertain a mover and a seconder to move into a closed session, please. And that is Councillor Miltenberg and Councillor Forrester, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council move into a closed session in accordance with Section 239 in brackets 2 and brackets C of the Municipal Act, with the CAO, the clerk, and Public Works Superintendent remaining in attendance at 10:29 a.m. for the purpose of discussing a proposed or pending acquisition of the municipality, that being a public ownership of a private road. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Let's have a break for 5 minutes to allow our clerk an opportunity to secure the meeting. I thank all members of the public for your attendance this morning, and we will be in recess for until 10:30. Council, we're back in our open session. Item 20 is reporting out of a closed session. Please, clerk.
There's nothing to report.
Thank you very much. I will entertain at this point a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory bylaw, please. That is moved by Councillor Miltenberg, seconded by Councillor Forrester. The lead be given to introduce bylaw number 03-2026, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Council meeting held on January 13th, 2026, and that it now be read severally, a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 13th day of January 2026. All in favor of the motion? That is carried, and a motion to adjourn, if you would please. Councillor Blake and Councillor Deputy Mayor Vanstone, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council does now adjourn to meet again on the 3rd day of February 2026 at 9 a.m. or at the call of the mayor. All in favor of this meeting? That is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for everyone's attendance.